How did your education shape who you are today? This is the question that motivated me and my friends to pursue a final project for a Benjamin Franklin seminar titled Urban Studies 178, Faculty Student Collaborative Action Seminar in Urban University Community Relations. And this video is going to be a story about how we went about doing our final project and what the final project was about. Basically, to sum it up, the goal of the project was to, one, identify a problem around us, two, think about what an ideal condition might be, and three, most importantly, how to get from here to there. So during that semester, Stephen, Omar, and I, all classmates in the same class, were volunteering at various Netter Center programs at Paul Robeson High School. And one of them, called Junior Jumpstart, is a college readiness program where Penn students and Robeson students get paired one-on-one and talk about what colleges to apply to, how the application process goes, and etc. Naturally, one of the things we talked about was extracurriculars. And as it turns out, my two classmates and I met students who wanted a theater club, a bowling club, or an arts club, and so on and so forth. Of course, these are limited interactions, but the point is, we felt from our limited interactions that the school couldn't sponsor all the various after-school activities due to limitations in faculty. So we wanted to gather as much perspective as we could from people who had successfully started and maintained partnerships with West Philadelphia schools. First, we wanted to decide on whether to engage elementary or high school students. We talked to Audrey Walsh, a student from Penn Aerospace, which is a student-led organization without a service focus particularly, and she wanted to introduce the idea of going to elementary schools and showcasing cool aerospace facts and stories. And in the beginning, she got a lot of people to go, but as time went on, later in the semester, students just stopped showing up. And also she told us that the elementary kids were not exactly the most engaged in a gymnasium after school, which is where it took place in Comegys. So you couldn't plan out a lot of content that is collaborative and cumulative. So then we went to talk to Dr. Molly McGlone, a professor of music and urban studies, who had set up a music program where Penn students were paired with high school students, and they would come teach various instruments to the high school students. And she did this for a number of years in both the high school and elementary setting, as well as through an ABCS course and other student-led organizations. And she told us that in terms of engaging Penn students the most, ABCS and work study positions seem to produce the most consistent results. And more importantly, she emphasized the need for programming that validates the art that these kids come from. So then we wanted to meet a professor who would be enthusiastic about actually starting an ABCS course in the arts. We met Dr. James Schlatter in the theater arts department, and he had previously taught a performance and public art course before, and we wanted to learn what about these programs were most effective and what could they be better in. And in our conversation, it was apparent that he was interested in restarting another ABCS course, but he wasn't sure what school to target or how to change the coursework for the next iteration. So we took it upon ourselves to help Dr. Schlatter launch a new ABCS course at a new school with a new plan. And at this point, we were sorely lacking perspective from the schools. And so that's why we contacted Mr. Joe Brand, a Netter site coordinator at Sayre High School, and asked him about Dr. Schlatter's course. How did it go? And he emphasized that there's got to be buy-in and enthusiasm from both students and the school's faculty. And one way we could do this was conducting a school-wide assessment of interests. But at this point, we didn't have that much time before the beginning of the next semester, so we talked to Paul Robeson High School's principal and English teachers and approached them with Dr. Schlatter's proposal for his new course. And this was the most fruitful conversation we had throughout the whole project because we learned that a lot of Dr. Schlatter's expectations for his new course, such as hiring a new professional through the Netter Center, or programming that was focused on the life of Paul Robeson, these would have been a little unfeasible on the school's end. And this was a very important insight that we got, that we communicated to Dr. Schlatter. And from that point on, we sat down with both Paul Robeson faculty and Dr. Schlatter and talked out all the differences so that we could plan out this new ABCS course. And I believe this class has been taught a couple times since the writing of this paper. And Steve, Omar, and I were offered the position of TA for the class. And I believe that Omar has taken up that position and worked with Dr. Schlatter in teaching the class. And I believe he's really enjoyed that experience. And as a final word, I made a video about this class because I felt that this class was very important in advancing my understanding in how institutions work, how individuals work, and how change really is a difficult concept in practice. And so I recommend this class to any prospective BFS students who are looking into seminars to take, because Dr. Harkavy has a very insightful way of teaching that I think will kind of last with you for a long time. Thank you for listening to this presentation.